Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. All right, you guys. Coming up later, more Milwaukee Bucks talk, more boxing talk as well. We gonna get back into that because, like I said, I got to continue to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm gonna get back to talking boxing. So I got some things coming up concerning that. Now, with that being said, I told you guys that I was gonna do a series of videos discussing Tyler Perry and discussing some of the material he's putting out and why he is a serious problem for the black community. Tyler Perry, like I said, he has his own studio, but he's not taking the opportunity to put out material that's telling our story, and doing more serious stuff from a historic perspective, while around the country they're banning you from teaching, well, teaching you about black history and situations where you had heinous acts committed on black people. They call it critical race theory, and they're banning that. And see, this is what I'm saying about the the mayonnaise nation. They're just about suppressing black people, and then at the end of the day, you got cowardly black people that won't stand up to them. You got too many yes men and too many yes women that's working in politics, that's co-signing this BS and being too cowardly to speak out. I think it take nerve for them to tell us we don't have the right to learn about our history and what was did to us. And this is why, at the end of the day, in most cases, we should never trust them. And I'm just keeping it a buck. But nevertheless, getting back to Tyler Perry, people have tried to salute him for basically doing things his own way and quote unquote doing it on his own. And he has that studio in Atlanta. And at the end of the day, I think Tyler Perry is failing miserably. And I think somebody needs to tell him, but I think he one of them people, he don't want to hear the truth. And I think even coming from somebody like me saying, hey man, you need to try something different and you need to bring in writers that could help you write shows, develop shows, and put out better material. Because some of the stuff that Tyler Perry has put out, like that movie A Fall from Grace and some other stuff, you just be like, come on, Tyler. But nevertheless, sorry, I digress a little bit. I wanted to talk about this show that he has that premiered last year called Ruthless. And as I told you, the show Ruthless is even worse than the show Sisters. Basically, it tells the tale of a lady by the name of Ruth Tisdale. And they're saying it's a spinoff of the show, the Oboe. I never saw that show. Basically, it's a lady who gets caught up in a cult, in a so-called cult that's basically a front that's like running drugs for the cartel. I think the show takes place in the Georgia area. I think it takes place in Georgia. But nevertheless, while she's in this cult, the leader of the cult is like a so-called, the dude actually that plays the cult leader, he's one of them so-called black Hispanic dudes. I've seen him in Power, and I've seen him in some other stuff. And basically this guy is a ex-con / junkie, homosexual, who's basically violating all the men that's part of the cult. You basically can't have any telephones. You got to wear these ridiculous looking robes and combat boots, and then everybody is screwing around with each other. They ain't supposed to be screwing around with each other. And then they live like on this trailer park, and basically they don't even have indoor plumbing. It's just absurd. It's just really absurd. Basically they have instructions like if the feds come in to basically make these kids drink poisonous juice and basically kill themselves and stuff. And like I said, it has an undercover cop there. I mean, he's so deep undercover to where, his superiors are wondering, is he still working for them or have he fallen prey to the cult? Because one of the things he had to do, he had to be violated, but they call it being cleansed. And then, like I said, the men there are messing around with each other, in particularly with the highest, who doesn't, really he's a homosexual, but every once in a while he'll mess with a woman, or sometimes he still doesn't know what he's really into. So it's just, the show is just crazy. Then they had like a young girl that's like messing with a cop, a black girl. It's pretty much a black cult. They have a few, Caucasian people there, but for the most part, it's a black cult. Then they have a young black girl that's screwing around with a cop, and he kind of then got turned out and stuff, and she pops up and appears sporadically and stuff, but actually she's just using him to get information and to spy on the cops. And then you have, you had a crooked probation officer that was basically taking some of the girls there to get, taking in the parties to get, I have to use certain dialogue or they won't, monetize the video, or I have to appeal it to get it monetized. But what I'm saying, which that's disturbing within its own right. You have girls getting taken to get violated. So one of the girls, she got taken and got took to a party and she was violated. And, her ex-boyfriend took the dude and basically decapitated him. Then you have this oversexed or undersexed old ass Jamaican lady there that basically they call them like elders, sort of like they on OG status. And she basically secretly is messing around with or at least trying to get the men to mess with her and stuff. So the shit is just crazy. Like I said, you have the so-called cult leader. Like I said, he's violating all the men there, even the young ones, the teenagers and stuff. So, I mean, it's just crazy. And this is what I'm saying about Tyler Perry. No straight man would write that. Would write a movie or a TV show about something like that. I mean, this show is just all around bad. It's just really disgusting. I can't go into deep detail about everything that's being seen on that show, but it's strongly pushing that agenda amongst black men. And this is what I'm saying about Tyler Perry. He's not putting out enough material that's portraying black men in a good light. And like I said, you have undercover agents who's deep undercover who had to get violated. Their wives is messing around with people. The guy's wife started messing with a dude that he personally trained. Then you have another cop whose wife went there and she didn't join the cult, but she started disrespecting him and treating him like trash. And he's really an FBI agent, but he's pretending to be like part of a local sheriff. And I mean, his wife just demeans him in the worst possible way. So, I mean, I'm just saying, they're not putting out too many white shows like that. But then, like I say, Tyler Perry is putting this type of material out. And he is the culprit because he is the writer, the executive producer, the producer, and the director. So this all points to him. But like I said, this show is hot garbage. You know, it is hot garbage. I gave it a chance. I watched this for as long as I could, but I just had to speak on this because I didn't like the direction that Tyler Perry was going with the show. And it just has, basically, it just really has a lot to do with how Tyler Perry thinks. He created this show. He wrote it. So you have to ask yourself what's going through Tyler Perry's mind to make him put together a show like this that features these type of elements. And I'm tired of people acting like you can't critique Tyler Perry, and I'm tired of people talking this you need to support him because he's your brother and all that stuff. And like I said before, I don't got to support nobody just because they black, and especially if they not helping the community and they're not contributing to bettering the image and the overall outlook and the perception of black people and how we're perceived. To me, Tyler Perry is contributing to it, and he has to be called out on that, and he needs to continue to be called out, because when you say this stuff to Tyler Perry, he try to talk around you. He tried to make it look like you the one that's tripping when it's really him, and you had a right to ask him these type of questions about the material he's putting out. This is just fact, but it needed to be said anyway. Let me know what you think. This your boy Town Biz. I'm out.